Ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Greene, AMTV, hard-hitting and in your face. It is, of course, Saturday the 6th, 2021, and Joe Biden's infrastructure bill, $1.2 trillion, has been passed with bipartisan support. I talked about this on Twitter last night during a live space. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at AMTV Media. This is very, very bullish for the blockchain crypto space specifically, as there's now been more regulation announced, and I'm going to go over some of those details today. But firstly, this reminds me very much of a New Deal type era bill, an infrastructure development program similar to FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, that helped put Americans back to work, of course, during the Great Depression. And America is currently in its own new Novu Depression era here in the United States, with massive job losses, 100+ million people out of work, not looking, out of the workforce for more than a year, and then of course a lot of retirees that don't work, and also people that stay home with kids, like mothers and fathers. So this is a way Joe Biden, I believe, and the political class itself can put Americans back to work. Now, in addition to this, it also has a very large climate agenda, and they will be building bridges, they will be pushing clean energy, of course, moving away from the petrodollar, moving away from fiat currency, collapsing that old system, which I've been talking about for a very long time, and then conveniently transitioning and transferring everybody over to what was always the plan, trust the plan, Bitcoin, blockchain, and digital assets, cryptocurrencies, the digital euro, the digital yuan renminbi, and of course the digital dollar that will be a lot greener than fiat currency, coins, and paper money that you might have in your wallet today. Now, of course, there's definite serious disadvantages with losing cash. You're losing the anonymity, but of course, that's what governments want. So they're going to be going this direction. It carefully ties into what the objective and agenda is. Let's talk about the two crypto provisions that had many people concerned about, well, how will this affect people's tax reporting? How will this affect people's privacy, etc.? The two major points I want to cover today were, number one, the tax reporting requirement potentially expanding the definition of what a broker-dealer is. Many have been worried that this would expand far too broadly to Bitcoin miners or miners of other cryptocurrencies or decentralized exchanges which don't really have a central governance or a CEO, as is the case of Bitcoin, for example, the largest trillion-dollar asset, digital gold standard equivalent, of which you never need to sell because you can borrow against it. Coinbase just announced you can borrow up to $1 million of your Bitcoin to buy a home, start a business, make an investment, really do whatever you want with it. You could even take it to a casino for all they care. And there's no background checks and there's no credit reporting because you're just borrowing against your asset. But this has many people concerned as, well, what is the interpretation of this? How will the IRS interpret this? How will the Treasury interpret this? And will miners now have to report? Because could this potentially bottleneck the whole industry? Well, this hasn't been figured out yet. In fact, the Treasury Department has not responded on this yet. So I think it'll be a lot more friendly than people are expecting because, again, the plan has always been to mainstream cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And I've said for years, especially at school, for those of you tuned in there at BitcoinRich.com, that all regulation is good, is bullish. It normalizes the space. And, I think to a large extent, there's a lot of positives that are going to come from the regulatory environment itself. Even though I'm an independent thinker and I'm very much, I would even describe myself as an anarcho-capitalist at this point, really very pro freedom and libertarian ideas and values, and of course, super pro capitalism and non-government intervention and bailouts. I think all of you have known that about me for a very long time. Now, the second piece that I want to cover today was the amendment to the tax code 60501. This applies to transactions over 10,000 USD equivalent and does not necessarily just apply to like unrealized gains or like actual gains, but just custody in general. So this reporting requirement will require a verification of sender info, a social security number, and also the nature of the transaction to be reported within 15 days for any transaction over $10,000. Now, of course, the Joe Biden administration is also going to be tracking and surveilling over $600 purchases for every American outside of crypto. If you buy or sell more than $600, what they have introduced will be tracking and surveillance. The bank, the IRS, and Joe Biden specifically is going to have to know about this. Has brought a lot of people up in arms regarding this recently. Now, this amendment could also just make it tough for non-fungible tokens to be in compliance. I mean, a lot of the transactions and business going on in the cryptocurrency space, especially in NFTs, a lot of the times is working with aliases or working with unknown parties to some degree, working with avatars, which have been popularized and are being popularized by people like Mark Zuckerberg and others with their creation and advent of new technologies and computer platforms like the metaverse. So those are the two new requirements being introduced. One is the tax reporting requirement, expanding the definition of broker-dealer and who this might affect, like miners and decentralized finance, platforms like Aave specifically, where you can borrow against your ETH for other tokens, etc., and create liquidity events and liquidity pools, and also the amendment to the tax code 60501, which will apply to transactions over 10,000. However, I believe that this is going to be a lot more friendly once the Treasury actually explains itself and how this will be handled on the whole. So the market is broadly, my phone's a little hot so I can't see, it's broadly where it was yesterday. We had a little bit of a sell-off across various tokens. Bitcoin still holding the 60K range as far as I know. I think we could dip below 60K, and that would be kind of the finality to buy the dip before we go much higher. Still think we're going much, much higher. Still believe 100K is imminent next. Still believe 200 plus thousand, 250K will be next in BTC. Of course, we have huge institutional movement into the space, huge bullish sentiment, and we're even seeing this in pop culture like I discussed yesterday with major celebrities and professional athletes now touting it and now repping various exchanges and technologies, whether or not it's Tom Brady and Giselle, the famous model, or it's Aaron Rodgers, the famous football star, Matt Damon, and many others. He's representing crypto.com. So the two opportunities I'm going to review at school this weekend, 'cause I promise you guys, I'm going to specifically be looking at opportunities for our private audience at BitcoinRich.com. Click the link below. I will be revealing because I believe this presents very specific to new opportunities that you might be missing. And it's my job to help you guys catch the trends so you can pivot, leverage, and profit in this environment. So click the link below. Want to see at school? There's an automatic activation link. Once you get in, you're just in, okay? You lock in that pricing today. So when the price goes up, which we are raising the price at the end of this month, you've already locked in pricing today. So get in now and make sure you register to, of course, watch all the videos that I put out this weekend, and then you'll get all of our fundamentals as well, our public forums, and an amazing community. Also, health and wellness, what is it, day 14 today? I've been working really hard, trying to keep my fitness up, having some shoulder pain, actually on the right side here, so I had to kind of take it easy yesterday. I did do abs. I walked and jogged about 4 or 5 miles earlier today. I'm still leaning out, very much focusing on my nutrition. My sleep, which has kind of been average the last couple days, to be honest, but that's very important. And then, of course, just keeping my body very confused, whether or not I'm doing resistance training or I'm running, doing things training like an athlete. I'm doing a lot of very explosive moves. And then next week, as I'll be carrying all of you guys along with me on this journey, and I encourage you to join me in the 1000x life journey. 1000x your life, 1000x your cash flows, 1000x your business, 1000x your crypto, 1000x your mindset, and of course 1000x your physical fitness, because again, it's so important to be physically fit as a part of your preparation as well. Like, don't ignore that. Don't prep with everything else like food and water and crypto and then not be physically jacked. okay? Because you're going to need to be physically jacked as well, in my opinion. So come along with that journey. Start wherever you are, okay? Don't get down on yourself if you're coming from, maybe a little bit more difficult starting point. Just start today. Start walking, start moving, work on mobility training. I do that every single day, and I'm learning along with you guys. So it's really an incredible journey. It's helped keeping me motivated as well, because I have an obligation to show you my arc over the next 30 days, and then I'm going to continue this into the future to show my own progress. So, in summation, 2 major opportunities, 2 trends that you might be missing that I believe have 10, 100, maybe 1,000x rates of return as a result of Joe Biden's infrastructure bill that's on his desk for signature right now. And I believe it's going to be huge. So I love you guys. God bless. Hard hitting and in your face. I'm Christopher Greene. Click the link below. I want to see you at school. Please comment and add any question in the box below. I'll see all of you very soon. Have a blessed day.